Clarko, you end your partnership with Hobart this week. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, well, this has been a great connection with the state of Tassie that the club's had for a long period of time now. So there's a touch of sadness to it, to be fair. We built up a really good link with the Tassie state and the people within the Tassie state. So, but we all move on. Tassie's moving on in terms of having their own side, and that's exciting for the state, and it's exciting for the game. It probably should have happened many years ago. To be fair, a national competition should have every state represented, and I'm sure that's something that the league will consider in years to come. But our association with Tasmania's been really strong, and we'll be back once Tassie get into the competition. I'm sure we'll be back down there playing in Hobart.
The AFL really wants a roof on that stadium down there. You could probably talk to having a roof on a stadium there. Do you think they need the roof?
Well, I'm not a good one to ask really, because I'm a fan of just opening it up to the elements, and Green Bay Packers haven't got a roof on their stadium, and they use it as a competitive advantage for the way that they play their games there. So, when it comes at such a significant expense, but they'll work that out, I'm sure. I think there's genuine commitment from everyone involved in the game that our game is going to be better off if Tasmania features as part of our national competition. So hopefully all that stuff can work itself out. That's very political, but the actual concept of Tassie coming into the competition is a really good one.
A bit windy out there today, and I don't think it'll be too bad at Hobart this weekend. But is there an adaptation? Like, how do you coach wind to your guys? Is there a way to coach differently there?
Yeah, we've played at the Oval a fair bit, so that provides some sort of assistance, I'm sure. So. But I don't think the conditions will be too dissimilar to today. She was pretty blowy today, and pretty fresh. That breeze was coming straight off the South Pole today, I'm sure. Being a little bit closer to the South Pole down at Hobart, it'll be very similar on Sunday. So we're looking forward to the contest. It'll be a good game of footy. I think good crowd expected to go. Two traditional sides, particularly Richmond. They've got a really strong supporter base because Royce Hart and Ian Stewart and these type of guys, Matty Richardson, who great Tassie representatives of the Richmond Footy Club. So they'll have a strong supporter base down there wanting to follow their side, and obviously we've been playing games down there, so hopefully it's a good crowd and good game of footy.
4 wins this year, I think, and it could be a 5th this weekend. When you reflect on the season, is 5 wins a pass mark for you guys?
Oh, it's a difficult one. We would have liked to win more games of footy, but everyone wants to win more games of footy, even the teams at the top. If you ask the reigning Premier Brisbane, if they would like to be a couple more games more than what they are now, that would make it sure that they were going to finish in the top 2. We're the same. We've won 4, drew another one against Brisbane, ironically enough, but would we like 2 or 3 more in games where we thought we were a good chance to win, but we've just dropped those games by close margins? The answer is yes, but we also know that we're in a lot more games of footy this year than what we were last year, and slowly making progress, but that progress just at the moment doesn't just be reflected by pure wins. But hopefully we give ourselves a chance to get one this weekend, and then in the final game next week against Adelaide.
5 changes to the side. Simpkin comes back in.
Yeah, well, he's missed a couple of games through just a bit of irritation behind his knee, so he's good to go, and obviously Paul Curtis comes back from suspension. So those two guys will certainly come back into the side, and we just got a couple of things around the edges we need to just work out this afternoon in terms of the rest of our side. But certainly there'll be 2 of the changes.
What are you weighing up in reference to Richmond and the way that they play?
Well, they've been pretty impressive. They had a very close game. We played the Saints a couple of weeks ago, so we know the type of game that they needed to play against St Kilda, and they did that for big parts of the game last week. So that was a close encounter. The last couple of games that we've played against Richmond have been really tough, tight tussles, and we're expecting the same again. So midfield battle is going to be pretty important. It's a key part to their game too. That's where their experience lies with Nankervis, their captain, and Taranto and Hopper and these type of guys. Presti's back in their side now, so I'm sure who can win that midfield battle is going to give their side the best look at being able to score enough goals to win.
Looking what happened with Nick Narkey, obviously a bit of a different injury to what Jai's dealing with. There's no consideration to kind of give Jai a rest to end the year and just make sure his body's right? No,
they're completely different injuries, and we could have nearly played Jai last week, but just wanted to rest it and get him as right as he could possibly be. And with the Nick injury, that was just really unfortunate. It's just unfortunate it was the same knee, but the severity of which his knee hit the ground, it might not have mattered whether he'd had a previous PCL or not. He was probably likely to hurt it again, given how hard he collided with the ground. So that was just really unfortunate. But he'll strengthen that up and be right for next year.
I think Matt Whitlock will get another good shot this weekend.
Yeah, well, he's played the last three in the VFL, and we've played him up forward. Earlier in the year, we were playing him down back, and then he missed a couple of games through injury, and then he's come back and played some really good footy forward. So he's putting his hand up for selection. So that's really exciting for him and us. And we'll see where that goes.
Billy Bruce retired yesterday. When he came to the club, he said that he didn't really have a left foot, and he went on to be a three-time premiership player. Can you talk to what kind of a special player he's been?
Yeah, well, it's a very, very difficult position to consistently do well in, the position that he's played, and he's just been a marvel of consistency, really. He's had some really athletic traits, and despite him being quite light in frame when he first started, he came from a region of the country that played both rugby league and AFL, and he grew up playing both sports as a kid. And so despite his size perhaps not being suited to rugby league, he could tackle, and he could hunt, and he knew how to get the footy, and he just added some beautiful goal kicking craft to his game. Real selfless teammate, and really, really decorated icon of the Hawthorn Football Club now, and we tip our hats off to him. It's a great career that he's had, and I'm sure there are going to be a lot of Hawthorn supporters yelling out "Roost" at the game on Sunday against the Demons.
Is there any part of you that might get in his ear about coming to coach here?
Well, I'm not sure what he really wants to do. He's we've stayed very reasonably close over the journey, but he's done a business degree, so I'll be really interested to see where he goes. I know he mentioned yesterday that he's got an interest in coaching, but I'm really interested to see where he ends up in the football landscape, or whether he's actually in the business landscape, because he's despite being a laid-back country kid with his old man on the farm, I don't think he's going to become a farmer. I reckon he's either going down the footy route or into business.
Well, what are you thinking of chasing this off-season? Last year you brought in obviously Luke Parker, Jack Darling, Caleb Daniel, a couple of veterans. Are you kind of chasing the same this off-season and bring to the squad, along with maybe some veteran assistant coaches too?
Well, it's a crazy time of year really, and the next 8, 10, 12 weeks is leading into trade time, but every club in the competition, it doesn't matter whether you're on top of the ladder or bottom, every club in the competition is trying to work out ways that they make their list better. Every side needs to make 3 compulsory changes to their list. Some of those are forced upon you by injury or retirements, and some because you think your list needs to get better, and you're trying to find players that can come in and improve that. So we're no different to 17 other clubs in the competition, and we'll explore whatever will make our list better. And sometimes that's experienced players, sometimes it's through the draft and just young kids, sometimes it's you need greater depth through the middle part of your list. So we'll work that out. But that's more list management. It sort of goes on behind the scenes, and my brief is pretty much coaching the side at the moment, and the footy manager and the list manager, they're the guys that are more trying to work out what our list looks like in terms of the future.
You put a bit of little extra incentive to try and beat Richmond this weekend and try and prove to your fans that your rebuild's on top of theirs?
Yeah, well, I know that's nice and romantic and a sexy story. It's more where we want to be, both clubs really, and we're both on the same journeys. And And what really excites us is the sides like Adelaide who have been on the same journey as us, and Brisbane Lions same journey. And Adelaide aren't quite there yet, but they're on top of the ladder and looking really, really good. And Brisbane took 7 or 8 years to get from the bottom to the top. So we know what the formula is, but it is a difficult track, and there's no guarantee that you're ever going to get there. What we can guarantee is we're trying our best to get there. So how quickly that happens for both Richmond and North Melbourne, everyone would like to think that whoever wins this game is on track to get there a little bit quicker than the other, but at the end of the day, it's over a long journey rather than a short one.